Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for December 28th through January 3rd. And let me be the first to wish you a happy new year. So during this week, we have the first quarter moon on the 28th. And of course, that's a time when you might feel impulsive, impatient, when your mind's a little bit active, kind of hard to get anything accomplished. And then we do have the waxing gibbous that comes in for the rest of the week. And that's a time for deeper understanding and outlook, a good time to act on your intuition, but also a really good time for planning and preparation of things to come. So if you're working on some of those New Year's resolutions this week, the moon is right in the good energy spot for you to do that. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter this week, Scorpio. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is to be bold and make the first move. All right. And it feels like I'm rushing through the readings this week. It's because I kind of am. I know you're busy. I'm busy. Holiday season, it's hard for me to just sit still. A lot of stuff to do. So, I mean, coming off of Christmas and now, going into the new year here, it's just a busy time. And I know you're busy too and probably don't have a lot of time to really be enjoying tarot videos. So we'll get back into the calmer, longer drawn out videos after the first of the year. I am trying to rush through a little bit to save both of us some time. So just to let you know that. But let's get right into this reading and we will run through it pretty quickly today. Scorpio, December 28th through January 3rd, be bold and make the first move. Your present energy right now, Seven of Swords, which I've seen this guy show up a few times. So, and I was saying in the last reading I just did when I encountered this card, as tarot readers, we're taught that this card is about cunning and craftiness and maybe theft or hidden agenda, but I see it a lot of times as air energy. Of course, it is with swords, and that maybe this person is kind of holding some cards close to their chest. Like you want to tell somebody something and not give them quite the information, but you also want to get away from them so that you're not letting the cat out of the bag, right? Not everybody needs to know everything all of the time. So I kind of get that energy. Whichever applies to you, take that and run with it. Of course, your current situation is the Five of Cups. So you might be feeling, I've seen this card come up a lot too. I get a lot of repeat cards as I'm reading for the collective. It's actually very interesting and educational for me, but I've seen this card come up as we're reflecting on the past year behind us. You may have learned a lesson here about not giving up all of your information at once. That may be something that you're working on, is to kind of hold things closer to your chest. Also, there may have been some sort of sadness and loss and things that just come up. We're all thinking about them at this time of year as we're kind of doing that year review. So, go ahead and feel those things and let's just get off of them and decide to move forward in a more positive way and see what you want to change this year. But, we all have those things that we look back on our past year and think, oh, I wish that didn't happen, or, loss and that sort of thing. And we just have to move past it. So feel it and then let's move past. What is at the root of your situation this week is this strength card here. So yeah, you're going to have to use your inner strength, to just get through that, to be strong about those things, and then also to kind of realize what the lesson is. No loss or change comes without some big lesson for all of us. So at least try to work through those things and see what it is you're supposed to be learning. In your recent past, here is the Page of Swords. So something new on the intellectual front or thought, some new path, and maybe something that you're learning right now, or some communication path, or maybe just it could be as simple as a new app on your phone, or maybe you're trying to work on some way of communicating again, or maybe you don't show all of your cards. So this is something, I'm horrible at this, so I know that it's probably something I should work on. I just tend to be out there with everything. Things that maybe I should hold close, I really don't. I've just never seen the need for it. And now that I'm at the age, I really don't do that or work on it. I just don't care anymore. But I can see when you're younger that there's a time and a place. Sometimes you just don't want to blurt everything out. Does that make sense? What is on your mind this week is the Wheel of Fortune. So, that life is changing. And that could be some of this pensive sadness here a little bit that, you live through a year, and I guarantee you next year is not going to be anything like the past year. I mean, especially, I feel like in the times that we are now, although really throughout your whole life, if you think about it, no 2 years are ever the same. But we are in a time now where things seem to be changing so quickly that nothing is the same sometimes from a few months ago, right? So, that's on your mind. It's on your mind that things are changing, things are evolving, and what we all need to do is just think about where our place in this new evolvement, this new world. Each time that wheel turns, where do we fit in, and what changes do we need to make to adapt to that? What is just ahead of you this week is the Ace of Swords. So you may have some big aha moment that I haven't had yet about that very thing, some big idea, some idea of, oh, here's how I need to change and adapt this year, and make my life better. So I hope you come across that big idea. Again, I'm telling everybody, because it's the holiday season, if you do have a big idea, write it down somewhere, because we can all get very distracted with all the things that are going on. But if you have a big idea this week, write it down somewhere. You might want to revisit it in a week or two. What is in your advice position, Scorpio, is the Knight of Pentacles. So moving forward on the material front, you might have to this might just mean just back to work, kind of back to the grind, back to getting out there and collecting those pentacles. It could be also just managing the material things that are new to your life. Anytime you get new gifts and things, it's a good time to kind of maybe go through things and see what you don't need anymore. You might want to donate some things, make some more space, that sort of thing. But that's in your advice position, is to manage those material things this week. What is beyond your control this week is the Temperance card. So this is just feeling very balanced and feeling that's a really good card. This is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's just, the feeling of being inspired and balanced and just really just calm and collected and cool. It's like you feel it's like a card of fulfillment. Like you just don't need a thing in the world. Does she look like she needs a thing in the world? It's just a great, great feeling. I love the feeling of that card. So, and that's beyond your control, that you get there and you're just kind of contented and like everything's great right now. That's awesome. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Is the Three of Wands. So, Three of Wands is about new ventures. It can also indicate some sort of travel. So it might be your secret desire to travel and plan a trip, and you may spend some time doing that. That might be the thing that makes you feel very calm. It might be the thing that kind of pulls you out of your funk. It might be your big idea is, hey, let's go on some fantastic trip somewhere, or you're trying to avoid it. It could be too that someone wants you to go on a trip and you're, no, thanks. So you need to ask yourself if that comes up this week. And either or is fine. Either decision you make is fine. Different Scorpios will decide in different ways, but it's kind of a big question is, do you want to travel, or do you want to do this new thing, or do you totally not? So that'll be a question that arises for you. You just need to have an answer and then figure out why you answered in that particular manner as well. At least know the reason behind it. All right, Scorpio, in your outcome position is the Ace of Pentacles. So not only do we have the Ace of Swords here with new ideas, but new money that may come in to maybe make that new idea come to fruition, this new maybe trip that you're deciding on to come to fruition. There's some way that you work that out that it makes sense and you're like, yep, let's do it. So pay attention to that. Hopefully, and this Wheel of Fortune could also have something to do with this Ace of Pentacles. Maybe there's just some new fresh money that comes your way. So, in whatever way that might be. What's hidden from you this week is the Queen of Swords. So, no real big understanding of things logical this week. Things intellectual, that's kind of hidden from you. And it might be that because these things are new with this page and this ace, that these are new things. So we're not even quite at the understanding. We're kind of at the inception point, right? The idea point of something like, oh, that's a good idea. You're not going to do a whole lot of work this week on trying to understand why that's such a good idea yet. I'm sure you'll get there, maybe in the next couple of weeks. All right, let's go get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. I'm going to go back to also be bold and make the first move was your overall, and I'm trying to figure out where that applies. It might apply here with making the first move on not giving out all of the information. That will make more sense to some of you than others, but there might be some information again that you need to hold closer to your chest. So, all right, final message here for Scorpio. Be patient. Be patient on whatever this stuff is. Again, this is new. We're not in big information seeking mode. It's a new idea, it's a new path for you. Just be patient and let things unfold. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Scorpio this week. And the card that you get, I just pulled this card for the last reading, security. True security comes from having a reserve of time, space, energy, personal power, and love. Make deposits in all of these accounts and you'll be a wealthy person indeed. So make sure that you are making deposits in all of those different kinds of accounts. It's not just about the money, but it's also about the people and the time and also yourself. It's about giving yourself time and space to, enjoy the feeling of this temperance card, to just take a breath. And even though it's crazy with the holiday, take a breath and enjoy your time with that holiday as well. So, Scorpio, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there's something that you can take away and use with this reading in your life this week. I also want to be the first again to wish you a very merry, happy new year. And that'll be it for today. Again, we rush through. We'll get back to the longer, more relaxed readings next week. So, happy new year, and I'll see you next week, Scorpio. Bye bye.